Star Trek Discovery.
Reboot.
Back on TV for the first time since Enterprise.
Right. Which was 2000. When was Enterprise?
Early 2000s? Mid 2000s?
Something like that.
How
I
far-
don't think I even
how far
watched
did you
that
get?
one. I didn't watch that one at all. I don't know if I've ever even seen, because isn't that the Scott Bakula one?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw one.
Captain Quantum Leap.
I stopped with Captain Janeway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So much to unpack here because we're both hardcore trekkers.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the return to TV first off?
Awesome. I think it's great. Well, okay, let me temper that a little bit. Awesome because it's Star Trek. Not as awesome because, well, it used to be cool about Star Trek, it was the only thing of its kind at that time. And now it's not as much. You have things like...
Tons of good sci-fi
Yeah.
and space sci-fi everywhere.
Yes. So, yes, I'm excited because of Star Trek. I love Star Trek, but I'm also a little bit tempered because I think that we're done now with sci-fi. Maybe that's just my ego. Because I used to be like cutting edge when I was a sci-fi fan and a fantasy fan, and now I'm like,
it's so mainstream.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Part of that is
didn't earn that.
the extra nostalgia that we have
Yeah.
of you didn't earn the sci-fi cred because you didn't suffer the way that we
exactly.
did. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We suffered
Yes.
so bad.
We did. It was bad.
But I think it's good in that now it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
The young kids are watching it.
Yeah.
It's mainstream.
Yeah.
There's not a stigma attached to watching and reading good sci-fi.
And I think
that's
it's
good.
fun. It is fun to be that geek and be able to share it with the next generation
Yes.
and get kids interested in it and say, hey, I remember this. Let's watch the old ones now. Let's watch the new one. That type of thing I think is fun.
So let's have some real that geek talk for just a second. I go back and forth, and you tell me where you're at.
Okay.
Between the chip on my shoulder of you didn't earn this, you didn't
Yes.
suffer, this all just was
Yes.
handed to you, and just relieved that now everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's a nerd?
Yes.
That nerdiness
That there's
is cool now?
no stigma.
Like I don't have to worry.
Yeah.
When I
like
go
we can
out,
just be ourselves with
I
our
can
people.
wear my geeky shirts and people actually think it's cool now.
Yeah. And so
I agree.
I struggle with that sometimes.
I agree though. I agree with you. I'm kind of there too. Like part of me is like, I feel like I earned that and therefore I don't want it to go this easy for
It's
everybody
so precious
else.
to us.
Yes.
It's
like a
precious
badge
to
of
us.
courage
It is.
that I wore for so long.
So long.
So long.
I think this is pretty standard for geeks our age.
Yes.
That we go back and forth between that.
Yeah.
And so for every time I am that geek and I geek check or gatekeeping fan challenge or something, like I'll do that with my closest friends and family in a teasing way, but I will not do that to anybody like I go run into a Comic-Con or on the street that asks me about my shirts because I am just happy to have them at the party.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll stray into that space if I'm trying to outdo some of my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we'll like throw down. But
Yes.
all in all, it's just we're glad that everybody's here. We're
Yes.
happy to have you.
It makes it better. It makes it easier.
For sure. So what do you want to see in this new Trek series?
I want them to stick to the old themes, which was there was always this battle between like everybody, let's all just get along versus but then there's like the Klingons who still want to like do some damage. So I think I want still that tension. I don't want it to just be like everything's copacetic now, everything's good, everybody's good. Because they did that, they tried to do that in some ways with things like DS9, Deep Space Nine, they kind of did that, where it was like this gateway where everybody came and the battles were, I don't know, they were not as cool. Like the angst was not there.
There was a lot of internal struggle
Yeah.
on Deep Space Nine.
Right.
And they definitely had the actors for it, but we want just as much of the external space set phasers
Yes.
to explode
Yes.
struggle.
Like some of the best scenes in Star Trek history, I think, are the scenes where you don't know what's going to happen because Captain Kirk's captured by the Klingons and he's being tried for basically war crimes or whatever. And those were some of the things that I think have been lost on that middle generation, I'll say.
I think you're right. I think one of the things that I want to see are a good villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if it's one central baddie, I think that's fine. But I want to see...
Or like the Borg.
Yeah, like
They were
an alien,
the
a
collective,
bad
right?
alien. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when Star Trek Next Generation was at its best, it's when it's going up against the Borg. When Deep Space Nine was at its best, it's going up against the Jem'Hadar. Did they have a really strong?
By that time,
everybody showed up at
yeah.
some point in, what was it called? With Janeway? Voyager.
Voyager?
Voyager.
Yeah,
I'm so-
Voyager.
we'll edit that part out. But did they ever have a central baddie? Or
No,
an
it was a
alien
lot
race?
more internal. The other thing I didn't like about the other ones, the kind of newer ones, was that aliens came to them more than them going to aliens.
Yeah.
So like on Enterprise, aliens came to them a lot and took over the Doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
Even in Deep Space Nine, because it was that portal thing.
Right. As a
The
space
wormhole
station,
thing.
everybody
Right.
was a central
Came
point.
to them. But I like the idea of them stumbling into, I think Star Wars or Star Trek is at its best when they stumble into things.
Yes. Yeah. Some of those best Next Generation
Yes.
are when it's just a simple away team
Right.
on with the planet and things go
And then
horribly wrong.
holy
Yeah.
shakies.
Riker gets somebody pregnant. Data is worshipped as a god.
Yes.
Those were some of my favorite
Those were
episodes.
the best.
Okay, one other thing about the next reboot is it going to be a serial or is it going to be individual standalone issues?
Serial.
Back in the day, they were really pushing hard for syndication, which meant that they couldn't tell a single story over a season because in syndication, they're going to be shown out of order. But now that we have streaming and binge watching and
Yeah. I
all
see
of
where
these
you're
different
going.
things, like it's
Yeah.
almost expected.
So I can sit down and watch
One
Star Trek
progressive
Discovery,
story.
all 12 episodes or whatever in a day or two,
And have it be one continuous story.
that is kind of the present that we're living in.
And
Gonna
that was
have
just
to
the
be
standard
that
at the
way.
time. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you're right.
That's how they built it.
right.
Ronald D. Moore, the guy that went on to do Battlestar Galactica, who cut his teeth with Next Generation and DS9, talks about how that was one of the big limitations that they had to work with.
Yeah.
Because they had to develop standalone episodes that could be viewed out of order, out of any kind of
I
order.
hope that they do a little bit of both. Some other completely unrelated and ungeeky fun where you get the character development over time. So there is some story building in that direction, but then there are also a lot of other things that happen. I kind of hope that they meet in the middle maybe. I don't think it would be as engaging if I feel like I'm just watching this 12 hours long movie,
Yeah.
basically, of Star Trek.
Which we
To
would,
me-
by the way. We would totally watch that.
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
Of course. I'd watch it twice.
Yeah.
Part of the fun of all of them has been that you get this exposure to these crazy things. I think it will be harder to find that crazy, like that out there
Yeah.
weirdness, because that was what I think they were best at.
Yeah.
They would surprise you with whatever villain came next, with whatever creature came next, or superpower basically came next. That's why I hope that they kind of keep it to that serial, is that
It definitely creates more opportunity for these one-off characters and storylines.
Yeah.
Because you're able to, they were able to tell so much and be so reflective about where we are at as a culture
right?
with those individual one-off
Yeah.
alien interaction storylines.
Like who can forget the little fluffy
The Tribbles
tribbles,
or
the multiplying tribbles? That
They-
was awesome.
that
in
was
its,
awesome.
In its flat out geekiness.
it's a soap opera at its core.
Oh yes.
It really is.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean?
Especially the original
Yes.
series. Oh my.
He's the one that's moved out. Heather, this is Kevin. Kevin, this is Heather.
How you doing?
We're making a show.
Good.
In case it wasn't obvious with all this.